that. Let's have a look at the highlights. And these are just the highlights, and there's quite a lot of them, so bear with us. But they're well worth it.
Yeah, in the early game, it was a lot of back and forth, ton of kills coming out from both sides. We saw a lot of solo RPs coming out from Wii because he had a rather tough game ahead of him. But that's where the nice soccer comes in. He was able to just capitalize so much on the weak secret heroes.
I mean, they kept doing trades all throughout the game. Here's the score is 4-4. Later on, it's like 13-13. It ends up, it doesn't end up. Then it's 20-20. It just keeps on being so evenly matched throughout the game. It's ridiculous. EG puts a lot of emphasis on getting killed through on the top lane.
Yeah, Winter's Curse play. Stopping the RP was insane, but I think that Evil Geniuses had good reads in the beginning and that they knew that Secret were going to be forced into using more of their heroes for these games because they didn't have as much early game pressure, and they just responded a bit better, I think, via TPs. They let Secret go ahead, rotate your Magnus around, we'll just respond with the TPs, and you saw that especially, I remember one bottom lane fight, they did so beautifully and ended up going like 2-0 in their favor. This RP looks so favorable for them, but the fight afterwards turned out so badly because they didn't have their Ember Spirit ready to go.
But overall, this is, I think, the first time that we've seen a draft like very tailored to deal with the Ember Spirit. We have the Axe in front with a Crimson Guard. We have a Vlad, we have a AC to try and deal with the physical damage output put out from the Battle Fury plus the Empower, but the Cleave just ended up being too strong.
And Secret had a really good control of this game. I think before this moment, Secret were on their path to actually more like a 55-minute victory, but in this one play where Evil Geniuses are able to take over the Roshan pick, get 3 kills, snatch the Aegis, they actually get Puppey at the end here as well. This actually makes the game then back into the control of EG, and they control to a point where they're able to get this mid-rack.
This was a very, very costly push from them, and very nice RP. The Winter's Curse doesn't really connect on anything else aside from the Magnus, and Ember Spirit just cleans everybody up. So how do you actually approach this strategy from Secret, though? Like, do you just simply ban out the Ember Spear? Are there other tools that teams have looked at? I thought the Axe was a brilliant pick from EG.
I think if you look at the storied picks throughout the tournament for Secret, you need to ban out the Ember Spirit. They first picked it a lot throughout the main event. They are so dominant with it. Eternal Envy's performance on the hero is just through the roof. This game especially, going into the late game. And I mean, they had a Night Stalker. They did as much as they could in the early game, I feel.
There were several mistakes, though, like that, EG, all throughout the game, whether it was Sumail or Arteezy. They were trying to push perhaps a bit harder than they really should have, and they end up getting caught in the process. Sometimes it was good wards by Secret, like the side lane on the cliff on the far left side. That ended up catching Arteezy one time, but a lot of times it was just simple EG trying to get a bit too much control of the map too aggressively with only one hero.
And Arteezy fell behind a lot in farm, especially after that first set where he was sitting in the middle of the creeps and just died to the Cleave. And nice chase from Eternal Envy, ends up finishing the Axe there.
Eternal Envy's plays here. Here's another one. Sumail has track on him, right? And he's right next to the cliff within Blink Dagger range. I would argue that that's simply Sumail not respecting the initiation of the Secret.
And here's kind of the defining play where Ember just completely outplays them with the Remnant and then the Blink back, and after that, they're like, oh, we lost.
I mean, this is the final fight, right? 37-37 before the fight is over. It's just very telling of this game how close it actually was until he got those 2 rapiers and then sat on 13,000 gold.
EE had so much pressure on him, though, not to get picked off. They had really good Lotus Orb usage on him, the Lincoln Sphere too. Everything was all in on EE, and he delivered.
Yeah.